Hey, there we go. Cool Earl, we're
What's
gonna get
hap-
back at it. How are you,
What's
sir?
happening, David?
Okay, we were just talking a little bit. We were laughing, talking about some stuff. We're in a lot better spirits than we were when we did part one of the truth. And we're gonna wrap this up now because both of us are way too classy for this stuff. But the research is complete and the research is undeniable. There's no wiggle room for folks out there. And that's one of the first things that I want to get to right now is
Yeah.
I know that you have said you don't want to bash people. And actually, when I would hear you saying that in the interview, I cringed a little bit because Earl, the truth of the matter is you're the guy that's been being bashed. You're the guy that's had these unbelievable lies linking you up with the Ronald Fair stealing of his intellectual property. Just this stuff is unbelievable, and I'm just so glad that we got to set the record straight that you had nothing to do with that. You do not
Yeah.
stand by that. So also, what we're going to get to now is the fact that there's many stories that Cornbread likes to tell, and some of them are actually your stories.
Exactly.
So here we go. In the Aerosol Autographers 1971, you guys had a photo shoot, which was separate from an interview session. And in
Correct.
that interview, you tell Sandy Padway, and again, unfortunately, this is something Sandy got a little confused. He wrote that the kid wrote the tag, and he got your positions in the
Yeah,
act to mixed up
throughout
and turned
throughout
around.
history, it seems like they always made some mistakes, but they get
Right.
close.
But
Yeah.
ultimately, the story is told in 1971, and Cornbread's interviewed at the very same time. And the bottom line is he's not telling that story. The story is coming from you guys. So here's the proof that in 1971, the story's told to Sandy Padway and it's printed in the newspaper. So no one was following you around with a camera. Nobody had cell phones in 1971. But I would say the proof that it's in the newspaper, that's good enough for me. That's
Exactly.
good
No
enough for
one talked
me.
to no one no one talked about tagging the cop car except me and Eddie. 30 years later, someone else wants to take the credit for it. Now, and that's the truth, and that's history. You
But
you make your decision on what you think now. But
well,
30 then we were talking about it because
right.
we did it.
Right. Now check this out though, Earl, because this is very interesting. You told me one time you always have to take what he says with a grain of salt, and he
Yes,
always is going to embellish. So when he
of
tells the
course.
story, he tells the most ridiculous story in the world about that he
Yeah.
sent a kid up to the roof in the projects with a gun that had blanks and told him to shoot down at a police officer. Now check it out now. Check it out now. So all of the squad shows up. There's like face he tells this nonsense. There's 8 cars, the paddy wagon. So he also describes the Philadelphia Police Department as if they are Keystone cops. So nobody is pulling 8 cars in a paddy wagon up, and everybody running up the stairs, and no one staying behind to watch the cars. So you see how silly that sounds?
Right.
Now,
And what a humanitarian sending a kid up there to get shot,
right. Well, he was also a kid as well at the time. Now, I never would have done anything as silly as that. For
even
what?
as a kid.
Right. So you
Yeah.
want me to go on the roof and shoot at police officers so that you can get a tag on a police car?
During those days, I believe they had guns in them cars and they would never leave their car
That's
abandoned.
the point I'm
You know,
making.
I was a glut for publicity, man. I would love to read about myself in the newspapers, and I would do anything by any means necessary to make that happen. And one time, um, they didn't recognize me. I went out my way to make do some shit, man. I went to my buddy Kelly house. He lived in high rise projects, the 23rd and London, and I gave Kelly $20 and a blank gun with some blank pellets. He said, "What's this for, Bree?" I said, "I'm going downstairs to call the cops. When the cops come, I want you to take these bullets and start shooting at these motherfuckers. He said, what's wrong with you, man? He said, why should I do some shit like that? I said, Kelly, they're fucking blanks. You're not gonna hurt nobody. All you want to do is draw the cops into the building. When they come to the building, come find out where the shots coming from, they gonna leave their vehicles unattended. I'm gonna fuck them up. I'm gonna fuck them vehicles. I'm gonna fuck them cop cars up. Go do it, Brad. Go do it, Brad. So I goes downstairs. I call the cops. I tell the cops the gang members beating this guy half to death. If you better get up it fast before you have a homicide on your hands. 2 cops showed up. Bullshit. That's not enough cops, man. That's not enough cops. So Kelly starts shooting. Pow, 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 pow. Where there's shots coming from? He reloads. Pow, 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 pow. Back up, back up. More cops start coming. I said, that's what I'm talking about. And Kelly, but now I told Kelly, when they come in the building, go downstairs to your apartment. This is the building. This is the apartment building. The top where you live is vacant, right? So when they come in the building, it's going downstairs, go in your house, and close your door. So they start coming to the building. Man, Kelly's pow, 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 right? So when they come in the building, Kelly come on downstairs, go to his apartment, close the door, and I start tearing up their vehicles, cop cars and the paddock wagons. They come to the place where the shots are being fired at, so the posts on the floor. Oh, this is some bullshit. They could put 2 and 2 together, so they got back downstairs and said my name on all the vehicles.
That's awesome.
It was too many vehicles I ride on to take off the street. So they're riding around in North Philly, police, cornbread. But that was never publicized. They never publicized that because they did not want a teenage copycat effect defacing police vehicles.
Chickens have come home to roost. So we said it in 1971, May 2nd, and then about the cop car being tagged. We did it. And then 30 plus years later, now he's saying he did it. Well, he didn't say it then in aerosol spray. And while we did it, May 2nd, 71, what does that tell you?
Yeah. Now another one.
But you know, we never did 30 years after he said that he tagged an elephant. You know, that's anyway, you know how I feel about that. But we never did say that we tagged an elephant 30 years later either. You know, we kept to our truth. And it will put us where we belong, wherever that lies.
Right. Now, there is one more thread that I want to follow here because I don't remember where I saw it. I don't really watch too much of this stuff on the YouTube channels, to be truthful with you, but people send me stuff. So somebody was trying to debunk Cornbread and somebody else came and said, well, why are you trying to debunk him? It's his story about the plane. Let's go back to that article with Tom Fox. Remember I told you about this article, King of the Walls, where it says that someone called a radio station up and said, it's Earl who really wrote on the first jet, something like that. And then the person on the phone said, oh, I know that's Cool Earl. I can tell by the sound of his voice. And I'm going to put the article up. Remember we talked about this? And you said, right. So the very first time that any Philadelphia wall writer is associated with a story about tagging on a jet plane, it is you. And you came out and said, no, that never happened. So in the very same Tom Fox article, Cornbread. So this is the very first time now that Cornbread's going to talk about. Can you
refresh my memory? What year was that?
Well, I'm going to put, I don't have the article in front of me now.
The reason why I'm asking you, David, is because I want to see if he did another one of those cop car things by waiting a few years later.
No. There's nothing. No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. He's stealing your story 30 years later. But check this out now. So with the airplane, right? It's the article from Tom Fox, King of the Walls, and it all is during that 1 week after the false murder is printed. So Cornbread is so organized that he can track schedules of airplanes that possibly only the airport can do, right? Okay. And so he knows the jet ahead of time that's going to come into Philadelphia. And he told Tom Fox, it's going to have my name on it.
Okay.
Okay. This is up so crazy. So Tom Fox tells him, and I have the footage of Cornbread saying this on one of these channels, where, oh boy, what is it? That he says, oh, and Tom Fox would tell me, okay, well, don't tell me beforehand, tell me afterwards.
I would write on things that I knew the media would write. I knew the media would print about. And call Tom Fox. Tom Fox was a columnist in the daily newspapers, and his response said, "Tom, I'm going to write on this jet." He said, "Cornbread, don't call me and tell me what you're going to do. Call me and tell me after you do it."
After you do it, yeah.
Do it, right.
Okay, so Cornbread tells him the plane's going to fly in tomorrow. It's going to have my name on it. That
Right.
never happened. That never happened.
It was going to fly in from LA, right?
No. That's the one where the Jackson 5 plane goes to LA and they write an article, graffiti wall writer for blah blah blah. There's no article in LA from that whatsoever. He also said it made the news. It never made the news. And that's how he lines up the story that hot shot Hollywood agents saw the story in LA and saw it on the news and fly out to Philadelphia to meet him to do a story about his life. But what we know, Earl, is that that story hasn't changed since 1965. It's nothing to do with graffiti writing. Correct. So the story did not change.
Tell me after you do it.
After you do it, yeah.
Do it, right. So George Bush announced on the radio that the Jackson 5 was coming into the Philly to do a battle in the 5 stair steps. And if you wanted to autograph, come to the Philadelphia International Airport. It's like a publicity stunt, you know. It wasn't a whole lot of them taking no pictures and signing autographs. They have time for that. Get off the jet, the terminal. I mean, you go through the terminal, you get your limousine, you're out of there. And then there's not a whole lot of time. So that was like Georgie Woods trying to get people to come fill out Uptown.
Yeah.
I knew I had to be among some numbers, be amongst those people, because I thought about going down there bombing all the airplanes, but I knew that if this, if I write my name on this jet, that would be the elite graffiti artists of the world. Because nobody nobody can claim they wrote their name on the elephant and the jet too. So when the plane came and idled about 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, steps let down, Michael came to the top of the stairwell and threw a kiss everybody, and everybody went ballistic. It was total chaos, screaming out. Tito, Michael, Marlo, Jermaine, and Jackie came out the stairwell, going through the crowd. It was total ballistic, screaming and hollering, hooping. I zipped up the steps, hold on to the rail, and write my name on the side of the TWA 747 jet.
TWA ain't even in existence anymore. That's how you can tell.
You're right.
Yeah, that's back in the day.
Exactly. And his final destination was California. And when it goes to California, plane gets in California, it makes the local news. Philly graffiti out of spray paint TWA jet.
So nobody saw it leave from Philly with the tag on it or nothing?
I seen it, and I had a I seen it, and I stood. I said, yes. And when it got to LA, it makes the local news. So Hollywood Hotshots read the article and decided to make me the next project. And it was months later, like, you know, I met some representatives from a movie production company and made me a proposition to me about a movie about my life. Earl heard him talking to me, and Earl says to me, well, if y'all can make a movie about cornbread, I want to be in it.
Yeah.
He was like, well, who are you? My name is Earl. They call me Cool Earl.
Cool Earl, yep.
We'll keep that in mind. So we came to signing contracts. My boy, a lawyer with me, man. I use common sense. I'm just going to paper come and make propositions to me, and I don't have no legal guidance. So I bring a lawyer with me, and they tell me, you got to let your lawyer go, because we have a lawyer who handles all legal matters. I said, man, your legal matters, my lawyer represent me, and I'm gonna keep my lawyer. I didn't play ball with him. We going back and forth, but the lawyer got to go. I'm gonna keep a lawyer, man. I'm common sense is telling me to. I'm gonna come on, keep a lawyer. So they decided we don't need him, and left Philadelphia and went to Chicago, changed the plot, the location, the characters, and they named the movies.
That's crazy.
Cornbread, Earl, and Me. Either one was. Everybody thought they was going to see the movie, see about graffiti artists. Everybody
That's crazy because every time you tell me like that story and you run it back to me, I always think of like just like copyrights and everything of like how many people, especially the artists back in the day, have gotten screwed over in film and public art or having their work in movies and all that didn't get paid, didn't get credit, or having their lives written about and literally just getting screwed over. Like that's crazy because that ended up being a big movie at the time, right?
Yeah, and I get it. Not one red penny, man. Not one red penny. And in fact, that was.
So how did y'all? I was gonna say,
Well,
how did y'all feel?
I was like 15 years old, man. When they made the proposition, and when the movies came out, I was like, I don't think I was 18 yet because I talked to a lawyer not too long ago, and he said, "Corbin, we can get paid off their movies." And I'm thinking he talking crap.
Still?
That's what he told me. So I said, well, how do you think you can get paid off the movies when that movies happened? I was about 15, 16 years old, and I'm 66 today.
With no paperwork and stuff, though.
He said, doesn't make a difference. There's the only thing that doesn't have a statute of limitation is rape, murder, and child abuse. He said, was you 18 when the movies came out? I know in 1975, I was about 15, 16. No. It's 1975. I was about 16. I don't know what I don't know what year I was in 75. But if that movie's, and I don't know if they talk about when they made the proposition or when the movies came out. If I was 18, if I was under 18, they could compensate me because there's no limitation to child abuse, rape, and murder.
That's interesting. I wonder how that goes because I'm pretty sure if that's something that can be reached back into, there's a lot of people that would like to reach back into, those cases and try to at least recoup some stuff like.
It's nothing to do with you and Cornbread.
Right.
It has to do with Ronald Fair's intellectual property. And again, that's the character Earl that we meet on page 1 and the character Cornbread, which we're introduced to on page 10 in the novel Hot Butcher.
And there again is the pattern. The pattern continues.
Right.
There's a trend. You do it, later he does it. They say this, later he says it. Yeah.
So check this out now. So now he tells Tom Fox. It's beginning of March. He tells Tom Fox a plane's going to fly in with my name. That never happens. By the time you guys are interviewed for the aerosol autographers, he says that in that article. He says, and by the way, I rode on a jet plane. But he doesn't talk about the Jackson 5, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the Jackson 5 hadn't shown up yet. Okay. So he's just talking about a random plane. And a month later, the Jackson 5 show up, and I've already just explained to you what he says about that. Now, as far as stealing your tags, stealing your reputation, I set the trend and everybody follows. No, that's not true. It's not true. And
That's not true.
also, and also, when we get to certain photographs that he puts up on his Facebook, he loves to manipulate these photographs. So there's one on his Facebook that you showed me. I'll put it up for the folks. It says it's you show up and you're doing good, Earl. You got three girls that you're able to say, "Hey, I got my friend Chewy here. I got this guy Cornbread." All right, you were macking, Earl. All right, so
I was
you
blessed.
you're sitting on the couch, and let's just make this straight. Chewy was never a member of Delta Phi Soul, right?
No, correct.
And you were never a member of Delta Phi Soul, right?
Correct.
And
Neither
Corn
were any of the girls.
and neither were any of the three females in there on the on the couch in the photograph. And we know Cornbread did not. He's not a founding member of Delta Phi Soul. So I don't know if Delta Phi Soul begins in 1969. I believe I heard it started in 1970, but that's irrelevant.
Yeah,
The
I can't
bottom
speak
line
on
is
it. Yeah.
right. It's irrelevant. The bottom line is he's not a founding member to be able to say, oh, this is Delta Phi. And these guys are not even in that social club. Why are you trying to make it seem like Earl and Chewy? You guys were Club Odigma Experience.
Chewy was not a part of Club Digma experience. I was, and Cool Klepto Kid and Bobby Cool was.
Right.
Cold Duck was not a part of, even though he was part of the West Philly crew, he was not a
Right.
part of the Club Digma experience. And like I said, we were not a social club, a social graffiti club. We
Right.
barely got in Club Digma experience because they had to, maul over the fact that, because we were doing graffiti and we're well known, rather not to let us in. And they let us in, but, we continued for a little while longer after that.
Right. And now
We stopped soon after.
the kid told me in an interview that I did with him last night, a Zoom, he said he did say though that a couple times he did write KOE under his name.
Yeah.
But the kid did say it was a social club. I chose to put those initials up.
Yeah.
It's not like okay, so he chose to put the initials up.
Yeah.
This is the 1970s by now. It wasn't a
Okay.
graffiti crew. Ed,
Absolutely not.
right? Ed at one point in time though did put the initials up under his name. So now what we are beginning to realize is that you are the root of any kind of urban myth of where it begins with the airplanes. Okay, so once again, that myth starts with you, and the guy is saying that he's up on the radio station. Someone calls in and said, "I rode on a plane," and the kid goes, "Oh, this is Cool Earl's voice. I
Yeah.
know Cool Earl." But that you've cleared that up.
I quickly debunked that. Right.
Yes. So thank you for that. So I saw something very funny. We put out the first part of the truth, part one,
Yes,
and
sir.
we have been getting responses from Europe even, and a gentleman from Denmark sent you a very funny uh he sent you a very funny photo. So what it is it has the on top, and I'll put it up for everybody because this is great. On
You're talking
top,
about extra one who likes to be called extra.
shout out to Extra, shout out to Denmark. And what it is in the top portion of the photograph, well, it's actually two photographs that he puts together. And the top one says, I started this 1967. And you can tell that he's younger in that photograph from
Absolutely.
the second photograph that then says, I started this 1965. He's
Correct.
older in the 1965 one. It's not a 1965 photograph. It's him writing, I started this in 1965. Now, you know what happened in that time period, and you know why he changed his testimony? Because he realized stories about individuals from New York coming out and their dates, like Julio 204 and guys like that. And then he also realized and saw some interviews with you guys where your date is 1967.
If I can say one thing,
Yes,
is about he is part of this culture. Just
without a
live with
doubt.
that. Just live
Without a
with that.
doubt.
But you weren't first.
No. And
And
also,
live with that. It's okay.
it's about getting it right.
Truth.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's it. That's it.
And who doesn't
Now,
want that? Another thing, he said that nobody was writing before 1969. Lie. We
right,
didn't meet you until 69 or so, latter
right,
69. And we had already been writing for 2 years. I never heard of you. I've seen Titty, Dr. Cool. Eventually, I've seen Titty, Dr.
right.
Cool, Dr. Hank, people like that. And uh, and I gotta say, he's the he's not the best of the lot, Cornbread. Because the other guys that I mentioned, they're humble like I am, like we are. We're going to tell you the truth, whether we're 99th or 105th or first. We're going to just
Right.
tell you the truth and let our our work speak for itself. Let
Yes.
history, fortunately and consequently, let the truth discredit or credit uh, uh, the graffiti artists and put them at where they belong. I'm all for
There
that. Now,
there's
so that was
uh-huh.
wrong.
This leads us into why you said to Sank, hey Sank, I think you should be the ambassador for
Ambassador,
our
right.
city.
I suggested to Singh that he should be the ambassador.
And tell us what happened with that. So how did
And
that
he
fall
he
out?
said this was like, I don't know, maybe 4 years or so ago.
Right.
I said, Saint, I really think you should be the ambassador. And he said, well, Brad is the ambassador. I said, I think you make a better ambassador, bro.
And I assure you that when that man left us and he was taken home, okay, he was the ambassador.
Yes, he
Without a
was.
doubt, that was
And
his
like you
title.
said, he said something very important to you before he passed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
Not to stop this. Let the truth be told. Yeah,
Sank
Saint was
was
the
the
man, and
man.
he always told me that everybody knows.
Mm,
Everybody knows. They know what he's doing. I'm not going to elaborate.
right,
That's for someone else to say, maybe from the North Philly crew. That would
right.
be best for them to say.
Good for
And
you.
but everybody knew what was going on and who was first and who did what tags and who was truthful and who was embellishing.
We've now let everybody know everything. We're going to wrap this up now. We've let everybody know everything that needs to be known. When we start to do Zooms again, Earl, when they see the next Zoom that you and I do, and the fun that we're going to have with Fat Albert and Michael Douglas and, talking about the radio programs that you guys want and stuff like that. We're not talking about this guy no more. We cleared everything up, and I want to make it clear. I'm gonna thank you. Earl, thank you so much. We're gonna close this one
And
out.
Dave, can I say one thing? A couple of things.
Oh, well, I don't know if it's
Two
gonna
things.
fit, Earl.
Okay,
It's not
first
gonna
of all,
fit.
I think you're doing a great job. Okay, I just want to say that you know your history, you know your facts. Okay, and I'll just leave it there.